little pause. I'm like, what's up? And I'm not one of them ones like people were saying in the beginning how they think we compete. No, this not a competition thing. I called you on the phone directly, like, yo, what's up? We
Right.
gotta get some footage up there, because we gotta make this thing seen.
Right.
Like the whole purpose of doing this, I'm not doing this for the views, the likes, the clicks, and all this. At the end of the day, I'm trying to save somebody's life.
Once I get started, ain't no work.
Right.
The only work is get one more.
Exactly.
That was my job.
Exactly.
And so I understand the difference between me and them.
Let's get to it. On this episode today, we got my man Jay. What's up, Jay?
Hey, Ben, what's going on, man? I appreciate the invite, man. Good to be here on the Let's Get To It podcast, baby.
Well, first and foremost, without a doubt, I couldn't have you on this episode, without, letting the audience know that you have your own podcast, and no matter what podcast, speaking about recovery, and it was an honor to be on your podcast.
Appreciate that.
Right. And we talked about this, about this recovery thing, about how important it is, to be out here saving lives and, getting this message back out to the people. And as I got up and started, I was like, ain't no way in the world I can't have my man Jay on here because we know what this whole thing is about and what we trying to do, what we striving to get to.
Absolutely. And like I told you before, some people, what I mean, that was that thought that we was in competition, right? But when you dealing with the disease of disease of addiction, they really the only competition is the disease, right?
Exactly.
And so we competing not against each other, but we competing to keep people informed with this information, this life saving information that would help, propel them to the next level in life.
Exactly, and I heard some of the chatter, but that wasn't even my main focus. My main focus was pretty much moving forward on this journey that I'm on. Wherever you see a McDonald's, there's a Wendy's.
Absolutely.
What they doing is selling fast food. What we doing is we putting out content
Yes,
to
sir.
help somebody. So I kind of let that go right over my head, and I just stayed focused because, like, in this process, man, that disease comes to you in all different ways.
The disease run rampant.
Right, and that's pretty much with the outsiders. They don't
Right.
know what we got to go through on a daily basis to get another day. You know what I mean? So if it's not the temptation of, somebody else is talking, or me walking by seeing women, or going in a different neighborhood or something, all those type of things can be a challenge to me. You know what I mean? So I got to know how to focus on all that to keep myself clean and get another day.
Yeah, and not only focus, but learn how to navigate, right?
Exactly.
So, because the disease will come in all shapes, forms, sizes, food, women, gambling. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So we gotta learn how to keep the main thing the main thing.
Exactly, yeah. But more than anything, what I was thinking about, as I was like, I want to say, like, because I don't do much, but I do preparing, but I
Okay.
never like sit up there and write a whole script down on what I'm gonna say. But like, what came across my mind was the fact that we grew up together since kids,
Absolutely.
and in the same neighborhood and everything like that. But as we got older, we kind of ran our own separate
Yeah,
different
we took
ways.
our own course, right?
Right, yeah. And it wasn't until one time on social media, because I didn't even know that you was in, like
Recovery. Yeah.
recovering at all. So one time I had seen you, you was saying something about you. I think you was like celebrating 2 years,
Right.
and I was like, damn, I'm celebrating. I'm going on 3 years. You know what
Right.
I mean? And I didn't even know that you was doing that. And when I reached out, I actually thought you was back in Atlanta. He's like, no, I'm here in Philly.
Right.
And then when I seen you around, that was a blessing right there because where we come from, anybody that get a chance to make it out of there and do something positive with their life is a good thing. So when I seen you on that same journey, I was like, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like we in the same boat, so we can strive off each other and help each other because that's what we do.
Well, yeah, that's what we do. Iron sharpen iron, right?
Right.
And so, as we move about in the recovery process, man, it's always right. I'm always overwhelmed when I see a friend, a
Right.
comrade,
Exactly.
somebody that I grew up with, man, catch on to this program, man. Because a lot of people can't catch on,
Right.
right? And because sometimes it's difficult because they don't understand that the problem is them. The problem was me.
Right.
The problem was you. We
Exactly.
was in our own way,
Yeah.
right? And so when we get out of our way, man, when wonderful things happen.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you know, like I said, that was very enlightening to see that. And then and also that made me feel safe too, knowing that, you know, wherever I go, like you said, there's someone there that can, you know, you can relate to. Cause I had seen you like somewhere around, and and we had bump heads and like, yo, what's up? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's a good feeling. You know what I mean, uplifted me at that moment. You know, but it's amazing how this thing works, man. And like again, like I'm just so proud for you coming on here to take the time out, to, you know, to talk this recovery. You know, you know, before we go any further, I just want you to tell the audience a little bit about your podcast and what you got going on.
yeah. So my podcast is DA No Matter What podcast, right? And I talk about recovery. I talk about giving out information to help sustain life, man. Similar to this, right? You know, just letting people know that what I mean, there is a possibility to live two lives in one lifetime, right?
Hmm.
To flip the script, right?
Right.
Because when you come into the program, man, they tell you that wonderful things happen, right?
Hmm.
You're able to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. So when you get here, I want to show you how we live beyond our wildest dreams,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Because everything is possible from this point on.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Um, Also, like, you know, since having your own podcast, have you faced any like real challenges with it, anything like that yet? Or is everything just like moving smooth? Because, like, I'm gonna just say, for instance, doing this now, I thought it was going to be easy work.
Hmm.
But you know, it's a lot just trying to, you know, make sure everything is done right, making sure things are on time, making sure that you're giving the audience the best footage and whatnot. So like, and I try to not let them things stress me out. And thank God I have a program where I know these type of things, because if I was just trying to do this without a program, I think I would be all over the place. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I'm grateful for that. So do you run into them same challenges
Well,
also?
I, you know, first of all, let me say thank you, right, for that night you encouraged me, right,
Oh, absolutely,
to put up
absolutely.
some content because the challenge most of the time is time,
Right.
right? It's not enough time in a day
Uh,
to get everything done that you want to do. And
right.
then secondly, right, trying to find the right guest, right, to fit in those
Hmm.
slots, right,
Hmm.
is the second challenge. But there's always some content, right?
Right.
Because we go through things, man, in the course of a day, man, and then other recovering addicts also too, but they sometimes need to know how we got through that day,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That's the key thing. And that's what I was, you know, that's what I was, you know, checking at the time, because, you know, I'm used to seeing your footage out there and
Right,
stuff like that. And when I see the little pause, I'm like, you know, what's up? And I'm not one of them ones like people were saying in the beginning how they think we compete. No, that's not a competition thing. I called you on the phone directly, like, yo, what's up? You know, we
right,
gotta get some footage up there, you know, because we gotta make this thing seen, you know.
right.
Like the whole purpose of doing this, I'm not doing this for the views, the likes, the clicks, and all this. At the end of the day, I'm trying to save somebody's life. You know what I mean? I think the greatest thing was, you know, not too long ago when somebody called me and was like, hey, I seen a podcast. You know what I mean? I see what you're doing. I need help in getting that person into treatment.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm doing this, because somebody done it for me in a different way to get me to save my life. So,
And that's the goal, right? To help somebody.
exactly.
You know what I mean? And people don't understand, right? We don't know what you need unless you say it. So the key word is always help. Like I need help, right? And don't be afraid, like to put your hand up and ask for help, man, because
Exactly.
you'll be surprised on how the abundance of help you can get, right? By just saying those simple words, I need help.
Exactly, yeah, and I agree with that 100%. You know, and especially with what's going on with this whole epidemic of all these, you know, more powerful drugs that's
Yeah.
out here. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you know, we gotta help these people get off the streets. You know what I mean? And I know they have to reach out and ask for help, but at the same time, you know what I mean? Like I'm not the type where I want to go down there and take the cameras down there and show all that side of it.
Hmm.
Like I just want to reach out and have a platform where people can know, like, all you gotta do is just make that call,
Right.
and then I'll reach out. You know what I mean? And I tell you, getting that call at 2:30 in the morning when, you know, you've been busy doing this, trying to worry about editing, getting all this type of stuff together, then all of a sudden you get a call where somebody's in distress and you got to get them into treatment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, you know what I mean? But that's what I do it for. And I tell you, the hardest thing is like when you taking somebody to treatment and they're on the phone trying to do assessment over the phone, and I'm like, you don't really need to be worrying about that. Let's just get this person in there before he turn away. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But that's just the process how it works. You know.
Well, and I haven't had the I haven't had the opportunity, right, to get that call,
Hmm.
but I do get calls, right, from people still, you know what I mean,
Oh yeah.
using
Yeah.
and saying thank you, don't stop, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, I need more of that. You know what I mean? I saw that the last clip and that
Hmm.
last video or the last episode, and that helped me tremendously, man. I'm not at that point yet, right? But man, you know what I mean? Just keeping up with your content, man, helping me become stronger and more willing, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's how that works. But one other thing I wanted to touch on, like being from the same neighborhood, right? And like not too long ago we had a gathering where all, the whole neighborhood came together,
Absolutely.
right? And then like when you get out there and you see people like, doing their thing, they might still had a couple drinks or whatever, and their families is out there and
Yeah,
everything. And like a lot of people come to me and be like, how can you be around stuff like that? And I tell them I'm not the one that's using or doing that type of stuff. Well, I'm at a fair. And then when you look around, a lot of the people that's there is just like us, you know what I mean? So we
absolutely.
got a support network there. There's like when you out to them type of events and stuff like that, do you ever have any like, anything, any feelings or anything like that when you out
Well,
there?
no, because I understand if I don't pick it up, I can't get high, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so the first thing is understand my position, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I can't use no matter what, right?
Exactly.
I don't pick up no mind mood altering chemicals, right? I don't care what goes down the pike. That just ain't for me, cause it ain't the caboose that gets you. It's the engine. It's
Exactly.
that first one, right?
Right.
And so
Exactly.
I don't even want to start the engine. I don't
Exactly.
even want to rev the engine up, right? And so I
Exactly.
stay in my lane, man. I understand that people gonna be people. There's always gonna be somebody doing what they do,
Right.
but they ain't got no bearing on me. I just got to stay in my lane.
Right. And also, like when I do go to them type of places, I try to show like an inspiration of hope, because a lot of them see me when I was ripping around the neighborhood and knew when I was up to no good. But to come back around and, like having my mom with me and my family coming on and they see us all coming together, even by, just your appearance, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All that's a difference, you know what I mean? So I try to be an inspiration of hope to let people know, like, I done it, like it's all right, and this is what I'm doing now. And I'm not the type to ever judge anybody who still drinks, smoke, or
Right,
do whatever.
right.
That's on them. Me and them are two different people. I just can't do it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm not going around trying to, hold up the whole like the wave the flags, like you gotta stop this, that. No, I'm just trying to be here for somebody that needs help.
And because some people, everybody not addicts.
Exactly.
So see, I wasn't
Exactly.
able to go to work when I got high. I mean,
Exactly.
some people have a drink,
Hmm.
do whatever, and
Right.
they go to work and they take care of business. Once I get started, ain't no work. You know what I
Right.
mean? The
Right.
only work is get one more.
Exactly.
That was my job, right?
Exactly.
And so I understand the difference between me and them,
Right.
right? The correlation is that they can and I can't, right?
Hmm.
And so as long as I keep that in the forefront, man, I ain't gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
Because no
Exactly.
matter what, I don't pick up no dope.
Right, and that's exactly how I look at it. It's not about anything. I just know for a fact that if I pick up one where that's going to lead me back to,
Absolutely.
and that alone right there. Now that I got myself together and that I'm functioning and running and working a program, that alone make me say, what, I'm not taking that risk of going back to even playing with that thing. I
Yeah.
ain't toying with it. You know what I mean? And even if I get in a situation where I'm not feeling too comfortable, I know how to get up out of there. You know what I mean? Like we from the streets,
Yeah, bob and weave. All
exactly.
right, I'm good.
We
Yeah.
been through all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might have a suspicion, hey, the law might about to run on the block. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
And you see they came, but you just got out of here. You're like, oh, I'm glad I did. Or all type of traumatic situations that came up that we escaped. I mean, we know each other. We know
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
things
yeah.
we've been through.
And I remember, what I mean, that you was on the block when we had that big old war back in the day. You was a kid, you know what I'm saying? But
Right,
one thing, man, I want to reiterate, right, and I can't say it enough, is that alcohol is a drug, man.
right, exactly,
So people think they can take a sip of wine or pop a 40 or open a can of beer. But that's going to lead you right down to where you really. That's going to take you right to what you really want to do, right? So I don't open no doors. I don't open no gates. I don't smoke. I don't smoke no weed. I don't pop no pills. I don't do nothing because the minute I do that, I'm gonna go get me some dope.
right,
Right?
right. And I was just sharing about that too. One little can of beer takes me right back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'll start with one can of beer, and next thing you know, I bypass the weed, the pills,
Yeah.
all that. And next thing you know, I'm doing some heroin.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, I don't even take that risk. Like, I don't want to, take that sip. Like I stay away from it altogether. You know what I mean? And by doing that and actually working a program, that's making it feel so much better. Like, I mean, I'm actually learning now and being more vigilant of my, what my recovery is all about.
Right.
And that's why I'm having the success I'm having now.
Oh man, success come a day at a time, man.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, we don't put more on ourselves in a day than we can handle, man.
Hmm.
I mean? A lot of people when they come into the process, man, they won't have 30 days in 30 minutes.
Right, exactly.
In 30
Right,
days, say 30
right. They
days,
want to
man.
rush to the
Yeah,
finish line.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that microwave recovery don't work, right?
Hmm.
You got to put in the work, man. You got to stick and stay. But most importantly, man, relationships matter
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
recovery, right?
Right.
Because you're gonna need somebody that you can call, that you can talk to,
Hmm.
somebody that's gonna talk you off the ledge,
Right.
somebody that can make you feel good, can continue to fan your flame, blow life back into you. And that's
Exactly.
what the people at Narcotics Anonymous did for me. They blew life into me, man, because my spirit was dead, right?
Hmm.
And it was dead not because I ain't have a God or nothing like that. It was dead because I was in the way.
Right. Exactly.
See, I always had a God of understanding, but I was in my way, right? And so I couldn't fully understand what it was that I was doing.
Uh-huh. Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So another thing, right? Because I noticed like at one point you was down in Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in Atlanta for 13 years. Yeah.
Okay, but did you leave like the city to go down there to like get away or something like that, or did you just decide to, what was
So,
that about?
you know, I ain't never really fully told my story, right?
Uh-huh.
Because my job right now,
Right.
right,
Uh-huh.
things I do. But say this like I left because my sister was living there, and
Mm-hmm.
she told me, "Oh man, it's a good place to live. The kids say yes,
Uh-huh.
ma'am,
Right,
and
right.
no, ma'am,
Uh-huh.
and the neighbors, say hey, good morning." And so I went down and I fell in love with Atlanta, right?
Hmm.
But at the time I was in Atlanta, when I came back, I had a year clean, right?
Hmm.
I was making more money I ever made in my life, and I was still hustling. I was selling weed. I was the plug in Atlanta,
Hmm.
making thousands and thousands of dollars a day, man. And I dropped everything and said, God. And this one, people say, "Oh, God told me." I ain't, man, God don't tell you, but God told me leave today.
Uh-huh.
And this was on a Friday, and I
Uh-huh.
still had a job. Still
Hmm.
had I had a loft in Atlanta,
Hmm.
living in a loft,
Hmm.
had a job. I gave all the weed to my man. Here, take all this cash at me when you're done.
Hmm.
And I came home and I ain't sold no drugs since, right?
Right.
And so God said, and how I knew it was God because when I got here, everything lined up. I
Uh-huh.
got a job with the state,
Hmm.
right? Place to live, you know what I mean? Brand new car. Everything just fell into place. So I knew it was God when I heard him, right? But
Right, exactly.
it was like he said, right now.
Hmm.
And so that was in the morning, and I packed up. At about 5 o'clock, I was on the road.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I had one of them moments when I got clean this time, right?
Hmm.
Um, my family was all out at a restaurant. I was having a birthday party,
Right.
and my family, some of my friends was there, and I just didn't want to go. I made my mind up that I wasn't going to nothing. That I pretty much was going to, go to treatment,
Mm.
and they at the party and all that. But my intention was like I got to stop this right now.
Right now.
Like
Yeah.
right now, I can't go. I can't take another day to do this and do that because if I would have went to that party, it's some money in the cards,
Hmm.
they drinking, there's a little bit going on, and I knew how bad I was in the inside, and I was feeling like because this disease made me do some crazy things.
Not
I
just
was
you, all of us.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was at the point where I was just frustrated at life and all that, and I was ready to do whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to treatment. And it was funny because I called my family while they was on the way. My mom and sister was on their way to the party,
Mm.
and they detoured and came to the house, and then my girl that I was with at the time, she helped me, get myself together, and she drove me to treatment. But yeah, that moment, when God calls at that particular time, I just had to shut it down. That
Yeah.
was the time,
Yeah.
so I can relate to that when you left there and came back. But then I didn't see you around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was, yeah.
So cause I was working at night. I was working
Hmm.
from overnight, so I sleep during the day, make my
Hmm.
meetings in between. You know what I
Right.
mean? And But man, yeah, man, I make a lot of meetings, man. Meeting makers make it,
Right.
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a good thing is sometimes when you don't see somebody you grew up with in the neighborhood, and that's a good chance that they might be doing something a whole lot different. You know what I mean? So, but when I did see you and you resurface and stuff like that, man, I was just so grateful, and I was just like, man, like this brother doing the same thing I'm doing. We're on
Yeah.
the same path. You know what I mean? And I'm like. That's that whole support thing, you know what I mean? Like I know that I got you on my back because I mean like we got homies in the neighborhood, we got friends that are supporters and stuff like that, but we working the same exact thing.
Yeah.
We fighting for our lives from this disease of addiction, you know what I mean? And other people can't relate to that, so they don't know exactly
And
what we got going on.
I ain't never know you was, you know what I mean, you was on the dope. I just thought you was a drinker. Cause
Cause when I saw you, you used to drink all the time, right? So and I was doing dope for 30 years, man. You know what I mean? Let me smoking dope for 30 years, man. You know what I mean? Man, listen, man. I'm talking about getting on the other side of this thing, man. It's hope, man. For anybody, man. You know what I mean? So yeah. So if you struggling, man, hey, man, contact Ben, contact me. I'm at Done No Matter What podcast. You know what I mean, Ben? Let's Get To It podcast. Yeah.
Listen, man, we can get you some help, guide you to the right people, man, and show you how to live this new way of life. It ain't for everybody that want it. It's for those. It's not for everybody that need it, but it's for those that really want it, man.
Exactly.
You can change your life if you want to change your life. So listen, man. I appreciate being here on Let's Get To It.
Yeah.
We getting to it. We got to it. Right. No matter what, don't use no dope. Right? No matter what, you too can get clean. No matter what, right? It's a great day, man, to be clean and not using a day at a time.
Exactly. Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I'm glad you took the time out just to come out here and share that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we want to get out to the audience that this is what this is about, man. We just here to help. You know what I mean? That's the key thing. You know what I mean? And especially having a platform like this, where as though we can reach out to people. Because I tell a lot of people, right, like
I'm with this platform. I'm not just trying to reach out to people in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like I was just out in Maryland because somebody said that they have seen me on the podcast and they want to be on there. When I was out in Miami, I was out there, networking with people, trying to get people because no matter where you go, there's drugs everywhere.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like this thing is worldwide. We know that. You know what I mean? It's in every continent. You know what I mean? So that's how big. I want to use this platform because that's a good way to do it, to get the word out there. Because there's somebody somewhere in another state or somewhere that's going through the same thing that people are going through here.
You know what I mean? So like I just try to get a clear message out to people like, you know what? We can get you help, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. Like a lot of times these treatment centers will fly you from Detroit, Michigan over here. From Florida there.
Yeah,
wherever.
I flew out. They flew me out to California,
Yeah.
right? And listen, man, it was a bunch of surfers, right, that helped save my life.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
talking about people didn't do like me, didn't act like me, didn't look like me,
Right.
but they gave me the love, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave me the empathy that I needed, right, to learn how to get through this, you know what I mean, at a day at a
Exactly.
time. So,
Exactly.
yeah, man, listen, there's hope, man. There's always hope.
Yeah.
And I don't care where you from. If you need some help, man,
Exactly.
help is
Yeah.
available to you all, man.
Yeah.
You just got to say, I need some help, baby. Don't let your pride kill you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like in closing, man, again, I just want to thank you for taking the time out, and I want everybody to tap into the No Matter What podcast, support my brother Jay, you know what I mean, and get him rolling, you know what I mean? Like together, we got different platforms, but we still together, you know what I
And
mean?
listen, that's what the program is all about. It's the we,
Exactly.
not the me. It's the
Exactly.
we.
Because I definitely can't do it alone.
And I can't do it alone.
Yeah. So I
So we
appreciate you.
need each other, man.
Exactly. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
always.
And with that, let's get to it.
Hey,
Peace.
peace.